Hi, Leo. Alright, welcome to the space. I hope you're doing good. I sense that during this time, well, it actually could be very emotional if you want it to be. And I sense that that could be actually very healing for you. There's a great need for honesty about what you believe in your heart. And I want you to know that you don't have to worry about anything disappearing or even potentially someone else not understanding you, because when you understand yourself, then there really isn't any worry. When you really can understand yourself and are honest about that, there's no worry about what it all will be. Does this make sense? Now, I know sometimes it's easier said than done, and I actually attempted to record your reading. I think this is the 5th time that I've tried, and this is the 2nd evening reading, and so we'll see what's happening there. Okay, so I chose a rune for you, and you received Nauthiz. Can you see that? It's got a little bit of a reflection on it. It's kind of like a cross, but the horizontal line is diagonal. And you also receive this little beautiful Irish acorn. So I like that image a lot. And it actually says fearless on the back. Can you see that? Fearless. So, fear not, and that came out first. So let's read from this. It's the book by Ralph Bloom. I really love his story of creating this, and then we're also going to use a really, really creative deck of cards. It's so unique. It's more unique than any deck I've ever seen. So I figured that would be suiting for you. Now, Nauthiz. It says the necessity of learning. It represents constraint, necessity, and pain. Okay? That's okay. Remember, when I'm recording this anyhow, it's Pisces season. It's the sea, right? And that is an inconjunct to you. So, the quincunx to you. So, again, what you believe in your heart, I can understand why sometimes it's hard to touch these really deep emotional spaces, because the sea is scary, right? And you are more like a horse in the desert with no name, right? So Nauthiz, it says the necessity of learning to deal with severe constraint is the lesson of Nauthiz. This rune represents the obstacles we create for ourselves, as well as those that we encounter in the world around us. Both can be equally difficult to handle. It's okay. The role of Nauthiz is to identify our shadow, our dark or hidden, repressed side, places where growth has been stunted, resulting in weaknesses that are often projected onto others. Don't take this world personally, this rune is saying. Work with the shadow, examine what it is in your nature that attracts hardship or misfortune into your life. When at last you can look upon the rune of constraint with a smile, you will recognize that the troubles, denials, and setbacks of life are your teachers, guides, and allies. The need for restraint is unquestionable here. Drawing this rune indicates that there may well be holdups or reasons to reconsider your plans carefully. Clearly, there is work to be done on yourself, so take it on with good humor, which I feel that you generally have, and show perseverance, which I know that you generally have. It says this is a time to pay off old debts, to restore, if not harmony, at least balance. So mend, restore, redress. When the fishermen cannot go to sea, they repair the nets. How suiting. Let the constraints of this time serve you in righting your relationship to yourself. Be mindful that rectification may come before progress, and as always, consider the uses of adversity. And I will say that your previous readings did speak a bit about that. A questioning sort of nature, an underlying concern, even an insecurity perhaps. And what's good about this is that it turns I just saw a crystal cube turn into a diamond. Like a it was like that shape that Scorpio made one time, where it was like a triangle at the top and a triangle at the bottom, but it was three-dimensional like that. I don't know what that shape is called. It's like a pyramid on top, pyramid on bottom. And you did speak of marriage, too, which I guess is commitment to things. Commitment, and I'm sure you love your freedoms, right? And you don't really like to be constrained. So, again, I saw, consider your plans carefully. Now, remember, this is during this time frame. I mean, I will say that most readings and messages, at least I find through this space, can last considerably longer. So there may be something that you want to take your time with if there's anything serious. Because if choices are being made out of the shadow, or if the shadow is being revealed to you, this could be a very emotional time. Again, it's not the easiest for you, but Eight of Wands, you may have the possibility to make this turn and to change the movement, but I see again you will not lose something if you take the time to have, I heard conversations of the heart. Actually don't feel like showing my face right now. It's nighttime chill. These cards are so pretty too. That's what I wanted you to see. So let me make sure. Still good. It's not as bright as I like, but Eight of Wands. Let's see what the conversation let's actually see what makes this wheel turn. Whoa. Those are Emperor and the Death card. These are big hitter. Those are interesting. Okay. So you have, okay, whoa, Leo, just a minute. So sorry. Just want you to visualize. I feel like you're such a visual person. It's like you need this. Just a minute. You can do it. Keep burning. Does that help? Does it make it worse? I'm trying to add more light, but I can't interrupt the flow. Okay, we'll do what we can with what we have. I guess we're talking about these shadows. These cards are really, they're darker. So, you know what these actually are, too? All these images are actually made, they're paper cuts. These are all paper cuts. Those sting, right? King of Wands 2, here's you. This is in the south. Give me a minute to tune in. This is really intense. You have to have a conversation with your old self. You have to have a conversation with, like, you can see it, though. That's the thing. It's like you are already doing it. But there's some communication here that's very clear, that comes from a place of great confidence, right? Courage. King of Wands, Emperor. Great courage. The Sun and Mars. Great power, really, to be able to do this, but it cannot be forceful, because you're facing Scorpio, right? You're facing death, so, which is transformation, which gives you a brand new birth of something. There's something in the woods, just a minute. It's okay. No. Just a minute. It's probably an armadillo. Can you chill? It's okay. It's okay. Lay down. Come on. Zumi's my little shadow, so I needed to soothe her. She's all black too. It's okay. So, she won't be able to relax. Just a minute. It's okay. Do you want to go inside? Come on. I'm surrounded, the north and the south, the east and the west. That's what's making the sounds. That sound was coming from the west in the woods. That's this card here. This transformation, right? Your shadow. Okay. Just a minute, Leo. It cannot be forced because, well, I guess a big part of this conversation is you have to listen. That's the conversation. It's not that you're not allowed to speak or express yourself by any means, but this is something that's so much bigger, that comes from quiet, you know what I mean? That comes from, well, I guess asking some hard questions. Excuse me just a minute. She wants to just stay inside. So, okay, so I see again, this conversation is already happening. Maybe it's been happening. About cycles of things. You gotta learn to be nicer to yourself. A little bit. And be stronger where you are weak. Or recognize that you can. Okay? This is a huge mental shift, too. I'm seeing this card in your northern position. This is also maybe some really in tune ancestral energy, too. But more than anything, it's going to kind of... Oh, I heard it'll rock your world a little bit. You know, it'll rock the... We're in Pisces season. It's going to rock the boat, you know. But I feel like... Again, you don't have to be afraid to have a conversation that you're not going to have something. All it's going to do is if you say what you need to and or listen to whatever's going on in the shadow or deep inside of your soul, right, deep in the depths of you, especially the parts of you that are repetitive and perhaps you know they're not in your highest, like aligned with your highest power. Again, I see you don't have to be afraid that you're going to lose anything. It's just things change. Now, I guess it depends what happens to how intense it changes. But either way, it's a big... I guess because there would be a change of mind, then there would be a big change of heart. Let's see what this... Let's fill in the corners. I want to see what the Emperor is sitting upon and the King of Wands is looking at. The King of Swords. So your opposite Aquarius talked a bit about the way through. And kind of this in-between place, you know. And it's not something that necessarily can be solved just intellectually. You know what I mean, or just in this mental space, because again, I see it's gonna rock your world, or rock the boat. It'll make, I don't know, change your mind in a kind of way, but really it needs to go into this heart space, because that's where the soul lives, right? Let's see what death is standing upon. This card is very interesting. There's a few of these. This card actually represents the East. So we're going back to Aries. Aries and Scorpio also are both ruled by Mars, and they were recorded on the same day. If you perhaps, I don't know, that or Mars in your chart could give an indication. Everything's actually looking over to the east here. in the southern space. So I guess it's all looking at the future, you know? Let's actually see what they're looking at. Just a minute. The wheel. So there is some sort of change here. But there's an angel atop of this with a crown. Almost kind of feels like a Libra energy. So I suppose something will balance out. But there's something emotional down here at the bottom, right? We were just looking at it like this. Which, to see the positive, is such a helpful energy, especially in ways of change, right? The Tower, the Death card, the Wheel, even the King of Wands is change. You know, the Emperor too. The Emperor is always looking ahead, so that change is always in there. Not exactly because one is not satisfied and they always want more, but because they're just thinking ahead about what they could create with what it is that they have. You know what I mean? Trying to make things brighter in the dark places, right? But you need quiet for that, and sobriety, right? Alone, you need to, there's something, this could be conversations with other people too that are also quite intimate about what, because this is also an inconjunct, which is very interesting. If you're unaware, it's the symbol that looks like a seesaw. And your previous reading also talked about that, like a Ferris wheel, where there could be great highs, right? Like, oh, I am the Emperor, I am the King of Swords, I am the King of Wands, I am, and there's great authority with that. Like, there's something that, again, there's confidence. But a big chunk of that is also changing. So maybe there's a bit of, well, if I am this, then I suppose I am not that. And looking at perhaps a comparison. You could definitely have a change of mind about something, but this is such an internal shift in you. Okay, so you receive the card of balance. It's actually the Eight of Swords, which is emphasizing a need for constraint before, for instance, you make any major decisions. Maybe there's something that needs to be waited like a year. For instance, there could be something where it's like, okay, this is April, right? Like, this is next month. And someone could be like, okay, I'm something really strong about then, which does make something move, but it changes something so big that I feel like this Nauthiz is so important to be aware of. Because where you restrain, for instance, or hold yourself back, like where you hold yourself back needs to be paid attention to. So that you can see more with clear eyes. Libra talked about that too. Which I guess this would mean believing in something wholeheartedly. Believing wholeheartedly in your relationships with others. Hangman and Pisces time, it's strong. A lot of majors here. There's the other corner. Oh, interesting. You receive, I don't know what this child is. Just a minute. In the Queen of Cups on the bottom. Let's read the child to close this out. These cards weren't intentional. He didn't plan them when he was making all of these. He just decided to add them in, and I believe they're all are in relation to the elements. Just a minute. It's a new perspective, you know. I can't find it. Okay, so this card represents the east. Blue is the east. This also has yellow, which is the south, so southeast. This is also a stage in between birth and child, right? So perhaps you're at the accumulation of something, you know what I mean? Or you're coming to some new space. This yellow is also the south, which is again an emphasis of the child. So here's the in-between place, here's the child. So again, I feel like it is so important that for you to discuss something deeply with your yourself now with your previous self. I mean, and I suppose there's a lot of stages between child and where you are now, right? So maybe you just want to allow yourself to go where it goes and know where you're skipping over something. Do you know what I mean? And be aware again that the changes that are happening are actually very helpful for you to become more of a leader, right? Leo to me is very much a beautiful leader. And I also know that it's very difficult because you are quincunx to Pisces to really be honest. Can you see this 10 of Cups? It's really beautiful to me for some reason. He's like putting it's like he has an emotion and then he puts it down in this hole and like in the bottom of the sea again, but it's like everything, I feel like this is all floating up. And so again, here's another emphasis of a bit of indecision, but also being able to clearly express what's going on there so that you can, because for you to find the correct answer, you have to do it emotionally. Like really deep, soulful, spiritual. I want to look at you before you go. I was actually reading recently about how spirituality, the spirit, if you will, is basically your mental and emotional space. You know what I mean? So, and I know sometimes the emotions are like, nope, don't want to go there, want to be completely in control, right? And everything's fine. Now, this does make such a beautiful lesson for the world. Don't get me wrong. Today, actually, I'll tell you a little story, close this out. Today I had an okay day. Things have been a little hectic, inside and outside. But a Leo friend of mine called, and I'm really happy that I have a Leo friend around me at school. It's always a pleasure. But, you know, I asked her how she was, and she was like, good. And I was just like, Leos. I was like, y'all are, you know, you're always good. Leo's always, oh, I'm good, I'm good. And she's like, oh, I just fake it till I make it. Queen of Wands. Isn't she rad? She's beautiful. But the thing is that's not completely honest. Now, is it cool to be able to hold Emperor, right? No crying at your speech, right? But just being strong because you need to, right? Yeah, okay. That's cool. That's admirable and respectable, right? But it needs to come out. And I need you to know that you have the capacity to open that door. But when you open that door, it may be a little scary in there. Yeah. It could be a little scary, so I need you to reinforce and remember how strong you are. Okay? Yep. There's a dragon. Right? You can totally handle it. That where you come from, say even, I was seeing more like in a heritage sense, or like I mean, nation is a weird word, but wherever your family's from too, like there's power there, right? So remember that you have support in all these different places. And asking, maybe you want to ask some deeper questions, you know, and the thing is you can do it. And actually what I see is that if you want, you can stop a family cycle that's unhealthy, or a relational cycle, you know, like how you deal with others, or how you deal with yourself, or how you deal emotionally, or how you deal, I don't know, like, again, I see family cycles. You know, like, maybe even solve some ancestral kind of karma. I know maybe that sounds deep, but that's what I'm seeing. I mean, I guess when you do that individually, it's kind of what we're doing, right? If everything connects to everything else. Yeah, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, perhaps. So remember also, there's magic in the water. You know, there's magic in emotion. And when you're aware of yours, you won't be manipulated by anybody else's either. You know, and you'll be more creative. You know, because successful, right? Respected. All of these things, all the things that you desire. Comfortable. More connected too. You know, maybe to even your family or to others. And disconnect from the things that are not real because it's a repetition of an old situation that blocks you from being, I love this Sun card, from being all it is that you are. Like really connecting with other people, you know, and again, being able to believe wholeheartedly in your relationships. And of course, having that story be clear in yourself. Okay? Yeah. Wolf. You see the wolfie? Such a cool character. Actually, I think that's more of a fox, isn't it? Huh. I love you, Leo. I really do. You're so inspiring. The way you see the world, what you create in this world, all the people you inspire. So have courage in yourself. Have faith in yourself. And remember, We all have a dark side. You know, like, we all have a hidden side. Let's put it that way. It's hidden. And whatever that is that's been creeping up, I guess you can handle it now, or you at least can ask some good questions to be able to figure out where it came from. So maybe you can find another puzzle piece depending on where you are. Do you know what I mean? Find the puzzle piece. Queen of Cups, Three of Cups. Maybe some friends of yours could help too. You know? This is also, to me, the moon lives in the third house. That's the house of the goddess. So this is also great emotional awareness and expression that is clear and honest. And a deep emotional connection is what I'm seeing. Yeah, King of Cups. Wow, the King and Queen of Cups. How beautiful. But not yet. But it will be, but soon. Okay. I love you so much, Leo. I hope this was of service. Thank you again for keeping your cool when you do. And warming the world. And remember, since you're the sun, if you're going into any dark space, you can never not be without light. Okay? Your friends already tell you that all the time anyway. But maybe for some of you, you gotta watch the others. Ace of Cups. Okay. Please take care. I'll talk to you next time.